I never imagined my calm suburban routine would be shattered by something as absurd as a battle over my own gate. But when the new HOA president demanded access to my private driveway, what began as a power grab spiraled into a neighborhood revolution. It all started one ordinary Saturday morning, around 7:30 a.m. I had just poured myself a cup of coffee and was settling into my reading chair when a furious pounding echoed through the house. I jerked the cup, spilling hot coffee down the front of my favorite blue t-shirt. I rushed to the door, frustration bubbling, and yanked it open to find Clarissa Monroe standing there, clipboard in hand, flashing the type of smile that never reached her eyes. "Good morning, neighbor," she sang sweetly, her voice sugary and sharp. As the new president of the Rosegate Hollow Homeowners Association, I'm personally delivering urgent notices today. She shoved an envelope at me before I could utter a word. The bold red HOA logo screamed from the top. "What is this?" I asked, dabbing my shirt. Clarissa's grin widened. "The board voted unanimously last night. You need to provide us with keys to your driveway gate within 7 days." I blinked. "My gate? You mean the one at the end of my private drive? Why on earth would I do that?" She pointed past me toward my fenced backyard. "Your lot sits at a convenient shortcut between Glenwood Drive and Sycamore Trail. According to Section 14.2 of the bylaws, we have easement rights for community access. Currently, residents waste 5 whole minutes driving around." I felt my blood simmering. That's absurd. I bought this corner lot for the privacy. I installed that gate and fence 2 years ago specifically to keep people from cutting through. This is my property. I paid extra for it. The gate stays. Her smile evaporated. "This isn't a request. The board has already voted. 7 days, or we'll begin issuing daily fines. $100 per day." She turned her clipboard around, showing a list of signatures. I recognized a few names: Ronald Jennings, Clarissa's husband, Ellen Parker from the biggest house on Sycamore, and Brian Wu, who never said a word during HOA meetings but always nodded when Clarissa spoke. "You might want to check your property documents," Clarissa added. "Section 14.2 is very clear." Then she spun on her heels and tossed. "And your hedges are 3 inches over regulation height. Expect a citation." The door closed behind her, but I stood there frozen. I had lived here for 5 years, longer than most on the board. That afternoon, while tending my garden, I spotted Ronald Jennings' oversized pickup creeping past my corner. He didn't even hesitate, drove straight over the edge of my lawn, saving himself maybe 10 seconds of drive time. When he saw me watching, he waved casually and sped off. That night, sleep evaded me. Around 2 a.m., I was in my home office digging through every document for my home purchase. Deed, plat maps, community guidelines. As the first rays of sun hit my blinds, I found it. My lot had been purchased before the HOA formed. There in fine print, it was spelled out: my driveway was private property with no easement rights. Relief washed over me. The HOA had no legal ground. Just then, I saw headlights through the window. Ellen Parker's red Lexus crept across the edge of my yard, following the tire marks Ronald left. I clenched my fists. This was no misunderstanding. This was coordinated. They wanted access, and they were taking it by force. That morning, I called attorney Richard Abrams. "They absolutely cannot compel you to hand over keys," he said, peering over my documents. "You're protected under a grandfather clause. Your property rights are intact." So I tell them no, in writing. Also get cameras. Document everything. And be ready. HOAs know how to make people miserable. That afternoon, I installed 4 high-definition security cameras. While mounting the last one, I spotted Clarissa and her perpetually yapping Shih Tzu strutting down the sidewalk. "Cameras?" she asked, tone-mocking. "I don't recall an approval request for those. Exterior modifications require board review." "These aren't modifications," I said calmly. "They're temporary security devices." Her dog barked furiously. She tightened her grip. "The board meeting is Thursday. I expect your keys then." "I'll be there, with my deed." The next morning, my mailbox was lying flat on the lawn, snapped clean at the base. By noon, my attorney's cease and desist letter had reached every board member. That evening, I heard a crash. My front garden lights were in pieces. The footage was crystal clear. Ronald and his teenage son, Josh, laughing as they stomped my lights and shoved over my birdbath. I marched into the police station the next day. Officer Selena Grant took my report. HOAs can be brutal, she said. But this is misdemeanor-level vandalism. We'll talk to them. Just don't expect miracles. When I returned, a bright orange HOA notice was taped to my door. Unauthorized cameras, $75. Lawn debris, $50 total due, $125. The debris was from the destruction they caused. That night, I printed screenshots from my cameras and slipped flyers under every door in Rosegate Hollow. No captions, just timestamps and faces. By morning, my phone buzzed nonstop. Some neighbors offered support. Others scolded me for dividing the neighborhood. Clarissa sent a mass email accusing me of spreading doctor images. Later that day, I watched from the window as her white sedan, Ronald's truck, and Ellen's Lexus all took turns tearing across my yard again, honking as they went. But someone else was watching, my neighbor, Julia Tran. She called immediately. I saw everything. Several of us did. We're with you. Clarissa's out of control. That evening, I hosted a meeting. 14 neighbors packed into my living room. I passed around my deed, the lawyer's letter, the screenshots. They've done it to all of us, Mrs. Rodriguez said. Last Christmas, we got fined because our wreath lights were still up on January 3rd. Mr. Patel added, Brian threatened to report my son's basketball hoop unless I supported the new landscaping deal, which just happens to involve Ronald's cousin's company. The atmosphere shifted. Frustration became resolve. We drafted a plan, document everything, attend Thursday's meeting en masse, and bring the local news. Mr. Everett, a retired engineer at the end of the block, leaned forward. About a spike strip system we could build ourselves. Keep him from driving through. My grandson's with Channel 9 News. He'd love this story. That Thursday, the Channel 9 van arrived as Clarissa walked her dog. Her face drained of color. You can't film here, she barked. We have permission from the homeowner, the reporter replied. That evening, the story aired, when HOA power goes too far. My footage, my voice, my truth. Minutes after the broadcast, my phone rang. You've made a big mistake, Ronald snarled. This isn't just about a gate anymore. Emergency board meeting tonight. Later that night, while Mr. Everett and I installed the DIY spikes, a blacked-out car idled down the street. It was Josh watching us. The next morning, my cameras caught him egging my front door. He spray-painted one lens, but not before his face was captured in full. At work, my boss pulled me into her office. We received a concerning email from Ronald Jennings. He claims you're unstable. I showed her the news segment. Be careful, she warned. These people played dirty. When I returned home, chaos awaited. Police cars, neighbors gathered. Julia ran to me. They tried to take your gate down, power tools and all. Mr. Everett caught them. Cops arrived just in time. Officer Grant approached me. Several neighbors gave statements. We're treating this seriously now. The next night, the HOA meeting overflowed with residents. Clarissa looked visibly shaken. Ronald sat stiffly. Ellen avoided eye contact. Clarissa called the meeting to order. We're here to discuss access rights to the Glenwood Sycamore Gate. I stood. My deed, predating the HOA, explicitly denies easement rights. Julia raised her hand. We also demand answers regarding selective enforcement and recent vandalism. Clarissa tried to deflect. But just then, the Channel 9 crew walked in. Their presence silenced the room. We're here to document transparency, the reporter said. Jason Lynn, a neighborhood attorney, stood up. I moved for an emergency recall election. Cheers erupted. One by one, neighbors shared their stories. By the end of the night, a temporary board was appointed. An audit approved. Clarissa and Ronald disappeared for days. Then came a bombshell. At the county clerk's office, I uncovered the truth. Ronald's company, Jennings Development Corp., planned a 40-unit townhouse complex behind Sycamore. Their only access? My driveway. Clarissa's demand for keys wasn't about community convenience. It was commercial greed. Later that week, she drove her sedan straight toward my driveway again, ignoring the new signs and security measures. I hit the remote. The spikes deployed. Her tires burst in a thunderous pop. Clarissa staggered from the car, screaming. But as the news crew rounded the corner and my cameras recorded every second, she realized she was caught again. That final meeting sealed it. Audit results proved $74,000 missing. Most had gone to Ronald's brother's landscaping company. The room erupted in outrage. Even Ellen voted for their removal. And then came Officer Grant's voice. "Ronald Jennings, you're under arrest." Clarissa watched as he was handcuffed. Later, I received a letter in her familiar handwriting. A quiet apology. A recognition of wrongdoing. 6 months passed. Spring returned. The lawn flourished. A new HOA board, new bylaws, and mutual respect redefined our community. Neighbors still joked about the spikes. Mr. Everett remained a hero. The legislature proposed the Driveway Protection Act, inspired by our ordeal. One morning, as I sipped coffee, a new couple approached. "We're the new owners," said Sarah. "Heard this place has a wild history." "It does," I said, smiling. "But it taught us how to stand up for ourselves and each other." Later that day, I received a final anonymous card. Sometimes standing up to bullies means standing up to the ones closest to you. The gate stayed locked. The neighborhood stayed strong.